The Path of the Samurai, Episode 4. The Spirit World. The air grew still, the scent of cherry blossoms replaced by the ancient smell of ozone and damp earth. Under the crimson Torii gate, a priestess, her face a mask of serene neutrality, awaited Kent. Her robes, as white as the first snow on Fuji, rustled in a wind only she could feel. She handed him a small, unadorned wooden cup filled with clear, cold water. "The path to the ancestors is not walked with the feet," she whispered, her voice like the chime of a distant temple bell, but with the heart. "Drink and let go." Kenjiro drank. The world dissolved. He was no longer in the shrine's quiet grove. He stood on a shore of black sand, under a sky of perpetual twilight. The air was thick with whispers, a chorus of regrets and forgotten names. Before him, the sea was not water, but a roiling mist of faces, shifting and ephemeral. This was the spirit world, the Omi no Kuni, the realm where memory and reality were one. The priestess was gone. He was utterly alone, his hand instinctively gripping the hilt of his katana. But here, steel offered no comfort. A figure coalesced from the mist. It was his first sensei, his face etched with the disappointment of that final, failed training session. "You were too proud," the phantom hissed, his voice the grating of stone on stone. "You listened with your mind, never with your soul." The scene shifted. Kenjiro was a boy again, his father's stern gaze boring into him as he dropped a wooden practice sword. "A samurai does not falter. You are not worthy of the name." Each memory was a phantom blade, slicing deeper than any real one ever could. He saw the faces of bandits he had failed to stop, villagers whose homes had burned because he was a second too late. Doubt, a cold and heavy serpent, coiled in his gut. Then they came. From the mists, they rose, an army of silent samurai. Their armor was battered, their banners torn. These were the ghosts of his clan, the warriors who had fallen in battles lost and won. They did not speak, but their collective gaze was a crushing weight. They were the legends he had aspired to, the impossible standard he had set for himself. He saw their spectral swords, their perfect stances, their unyielding resolve. In their presence, he was nothing. A failure. A child playing with a man's weapon. He drew his own katana, its familiar weight. A small anchor in this sea of judgment. He wanted to fight, to prove them wrong, to carve his own name among theirs. But as he raised his blade, he saw his own reflection in the polished steel. His face was a mask of fear and arrogance. He saw the boy trying to please his father, the student desperate for his master's approval. He saw the man who defined himself only by his victories and was shattered by his defeats. He had been so focused on perfection, on being an unflawed legend, that he had forgotten the truth of the samurai's path. It was not about never falling. It was about rising every time, scarred but stronger. The phantoms watched, their silence absolute. Kenjiro's arm trembled. To fight them was to fight his own history, his own blood. It was an act of ultimate vanity. And in that moment of crippling self-awareness, clarity pierced through the fog of his pride. He lowered his sword. He dropped to his knees on the black sand, a gesture that felt more difficult than any battle he had ever fought. He pressed his forehead to the ground, the cold grit, a sharp reminder of his mortality, his failure. He wasn't bowing to them as gods or superiors. He was bowing to them as family, as fellow travelers on the same unforgiving road. He was accepting his place among them not as a legend, but as a man who had failed, and would fail again, but who would never, ever give up. "I am sorry," he whispered, the words not for them, but for himself. "I accept my weakness. I accept my failures. They are as much a part of me as my strength." A deep, resonant hum filled the air, a sound that was both a sigh and a song. He looked up. The silent army of ancestors was no longer judging him. Their spectral faces held a new expression, acceptance, respect. One by one, they bowed in return. The first sensei smiled. His father's phantom nodded, a flicker of pride in his misty eyes. The ghosts began to dissolve, not into nothingness, but into motes of pale, silver light. They swirled around him, a gentle whirlwind of ancestral energy. The light flowed not past him, but into him. Into the katana he still held. He felt a warmth spread from the hilt, up his arm, and into his very soul. It was the collective will of generations, the strength of those who had come before, their resolve and their wisdom poured into steel. He looked down at his blade. The hammer, the temper line, now glowed with a soft, ethereal light, like moonlight captured within the metal. It was no longer just his sword. It was the vessel of his lineage. He had not defeated his ghosts. He had embraced them, and in doing so, they had given him their blessing. The world of twilight faded. The scent of cherry blossoms returned, and he found himself on his knees before the Torii gate, the wooden cup empty at his side. The priestess stood over him, a knowing smile on her lips. "The ancestors have accepted you," she said. "Now, go. Your real battle awaits." Thank you for watching. Subscribe to continue the journey.